It is done. Paul Heyman, he's out of the bloodline. He was totally destroyed by Solo Sikoa and his bloodline. I was shocked. No joke. I have a live reaction if you want to watch it. He took a Samoan spike, a flying headbutt from Jacob Fatu, and a triple powerbomb through a table. I was amazed by the brutality of it. I was legit mad at Solo Sikoa yesterday. I was like, no, don't you do that. And then he did it. Oh, but the war is a-brewing, and Solo needs to now replace Roman's Wiseman because he replaced the Usos with the Tungans. He replaced himself as the enforcer with Jacob Fatu. So now they gotta replace the Wiseman. And who pray tell, can even fill the shoes of Paul Heyman? And that's what we're going to explore in today's video. But first, please subscribe and comment on the video. Comments get a chance to win the belt. I'm going to give it away at 10,000 subscribers. And why shouldn't you subscribe? Because I do 4 to 7 videos a week, not including shorts. And I just know you're going to love this wrestling channel. Let's talk now about the 3 people who I feel have a possibility at becoming the new Wiseman, who would be the most logical choices. The first one is Jim Cornette. In the history of managers, there's 3 top managers: Bobby the Brain Heenan, Paul Heyman, and Jim Cornette. Unfortunately, Bobby the Brain Heenan, he's a non-choice because he actually did pass away in real life. Paul Heyman, well, you know, he's gone. So Jim Cornette could fill the shoes. Is he as good as Paul Heyman? That's debatable. I don't think he is, but he's definitely up there, and he could definitely do it. He's very outspoken. He's very just everything. He is a character. And the greatest ththing about it is he managed Yokozuna, who is also a bloodline relative. You can definitely play off the history and the fact that Jim Cornette is, you know, he's a great manager and he can talk on the microphone. Problem is this, it's not like the old days where wrestlers, they can't get that limelight. You know, wrestlers don't retire because they have to step out of the limelight and they have no fanfare whatsoever. But in today's world, today's social media world, you can forever stay in the limelight, really, by just starting up a podcast. And that's what Jim Cornette has. He has like 2 podcasts. He's always talking wrestling. He has a lot of fans still. He's very much a part of the internet community. I think he gets his fix there, and he likes retirement. I highly doubt that Jim Cornette will come out of retirement to manage the bloodline. It would be great. It would be awesome, but not gonna happen. The number 2 choice, I think, has a decent shot at it, and that is Haku, or as WCW fans remember him, Ming. Ming definitely has the pedigree. He's definitely someone within this bloodline family tree. In fact, he's the dad of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. So there you go. You got an instant connection right there. And Ming has been known legit as the toughest guy behind the scenes. Ming definitely has the reputation, the respect, the everything to be the next Wiseman. Problem is this, though. I don't know if he can speak on the microphone. Obviously, he can speak. His gimmick of being like this crazed monster isn't like real, and he can actually talk. He's done interviews, and he's done very good interviews, you know, behind the scenes interviews since retiring from being a wrestler. However, being on the microphone trying to get people over, that's a whole different story. I'm not sure if he can do it. He might be able to do it. I have no knowledge of him doing anything really like that, so I can't say for sure. And that, to me, could be a hindrance of him becoming the Wiseman of the group. A way around the speaking, though, is if he just whispers everything into Solo's ears, because then you have a Wiseman who's not talking, and Solo can do the talking, and storyline-wise, he's saying everything that Paul would, he's just not saying it out loud, he's just giving it to Solo and Solo only, and maybe Solo says, that's how I want it. Nobody needs to hear what the Wiseman says but me. I take his information, and then I do with it what I will. So then you can have Haku actually in the storyline as the Wiseman and kind of cover the fact that he's unable to speak. That would be a way around Haku, and Haku would be a good fit because, again, he's the father of Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, plus Hikuleo. Also, Hikuleo is coming in, and that's another one. Who knows? What if Jacob Fatu gets rid of Solo Sikoa under the orders of Haku. Now we have a Tonga bloodline. Then we can have Roman come back with the Usos and maybe even Solo. And then we have that branch of the family versus the Tongan branch of the family. And it's an all-out civil family war based on the bloodline now. And so Haku has a lot of upside to the bloodline, and we can get around any of his weaknesses. But the number one person who I feel has the most likely shot at becoming the new Wiseman is Rikishi. Rikishi is a Hall of Famer, and he's been with WWE for a while. He comes back here and there, but for the most part, he's been out of the picture. On Twitter, though, he'll make statements on the Bloodline storyline, and sometimes people even read into it like, oh my gosh, he might be the special referee of the Usos match. And the interesting thing is, after the Paul Heyman incident where Paul Heyman gets destroyed, he tweets, "It's done," meaning like, all right, I knew it was going to happen. It's done. Time to move on. And so he's definitely playing to that. He hasn't flat out said, I want a job at WWE, but his Twitter definitely alludes to the fact that he's open to the idea. And Rikishi would be a great fit. He would be a great fit because he is the Usos' dad. And you're like, wow, how can the dad be on the wrong side of the bloodline if the Usos are going to be on Roman's and it's going to be a civil war? Well, he's also Solo Sikoa's dad. That's right. It'd be a great storyline right there to be like, that's my favorite son. I love Solo more than I love the Usos. And he can bring in personal stuff. He'd be like, you guys got too many DUIs. You guys are always fighting with each other. But Solo knows what needs to be done, and he doesn't. Jay, you betrayed your bloodline, but Solo did not. He was just stepping up. He was just punishing Jimmy. But Jay, you just left. You left Jimmy for this. This is your fault that Jimmy's out of the bloodline and has nowhere to go because you left him. So Rikishi would be a great fit. Now, Rikishi is no Paul Heyman on the microphone, but he's good enough. And you can always have an Easter egg of him saying something like this: I did it for you, Rock. I did it for you. If you know, you know. If you don't, look it up. Rikishi, I did it for you, Rock. But regardless, Rikishi is good enough on the microphone. And heck, we could still do the secret talking in the ear of Solo, and every once in a while Rikishi could talk, but I think he's good enough. He can definitely talk. He's definitely good enough to talk on the microphone. It doesn't have to be up to the auditory skills of Paul Heyman. We don't have to fully match Paul Heyman because we're just not gonna. Just like Solo doesn't have to fully match Roman Reigns because he's just not gonna. But you do have to get a B+ performer, and Rikishi can definitely be a B+ performer, and that might eventually make him to an A. And it might just be different enough that it's good enough and it's great enough for this rendition of the bloodline. I think Rikishi is the perfect person to do it. He is a member of the bloodline, but being a father of Solo and the Usos creates a different dynamic. The fact that he's a Hall of Famer, today's fan will know him more than they will know Haku and Ming. You have to have been like 18 during the Attitude Era to really know who Haku and Ming are. But Rikishi, even though he was around during the Attitude Era, that's when he made it, and he gets all the way to like 2004, 2005, really. So a lot of people who are in their 30s will know Rikishi more than they will know Haku, so Rikishi will be more meaningful than Haku as the Wiseman. And that's why I believe that Rikishi is the perfect Wiseman to replace Paul Heyman, even though nobody's ever going to really replace Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman is a one-of-a-kind, kind of guy. But regardless, Rikishi, I think, will be able to do a good job, and I will acknowledge Rikishi as my prime candidate for Wiseman, just like I hope you acknowledge the subscribe button. Please comment below. Like I said, you can win a belt. And what do you think? Who do you think should be the next Wiseman of the bloodline? Or do you think they should not even have one? Should they just be completely crazy lunatics that are on their own, just doing whatever they want? It would be cool to see Haku, though, not gonna lie. I really loved Haku. Anyways, guys, you have a great day.